parents welcomed me with hardship, but hardship did not frighten me anymore. At that point in my life, suffering and rejection were already familiar to me. But this particular season of my life was different. It was not only my body that was tired, my heart was tired too. During my apprenticeship, life became more difficult. Deep down, I knew that hairdressing was not my passion. It was not something I dreamed of doing with my life. I accepted it because I had no other option. And sometimes life does not give you the opportunity to follow your dreams. Instead, you are forced to accept whatever is available just to survive. That was my situation. Every morning, I would wake up, complete the housework, and prepare to the salon. I would watch my madam and other hairdressers working with so much excitement and interest. I did not feel the same way. My hands were learning the work, but my heart was someone else. I was doing the apprenticeship because I needed to do something for the future. I told myself that even if hairdressing was not my passion, perhaps it could help me become independent one day. Despite what I was going through internally, my madam and the customers loved me. I tried to be respectful, hardworking, and helpful. I did everything that was expected of me. From the outside, I probably looked like a young girl who was doing well. Nobody could see the sadness I carried inside. The truth was that I was never genuinely happy. I was slowly becoming depressed at that time. I did not even understand what depression meant. I only knew that I was always sad, discouraged, and tired of life. Then it was time to pay the second installment of my apprenticeship fee. That was 500 naira. Today, 500 naira may not sound like a lot of money, but at that time, it was a very serious amount. To me, that money stood between me and my little future I was trying to build. I told my brother that the payment was due, so that he could contact our eldest brother. I believe they will find a way to pay it because this was about my future. But his response shattered me. He said, "I'm not sure the money will come because there are more important needs in the family right now. More important needs." Those were stayed with me. I kept wondering what could be more important than helping me secure my future? Am I not also part of the family? Don't I deserve a chance to become somebody? My brother advised me to return to my madam and ask her to give us more time. But that did not sit well with me. I was ashamed. I did not know how to stand before my madam. I was afraid she might send me away or even believe I wasn't serious. So instead of returning to the salon, I stayed at home. For 1 whole week, I did not go to work. Every day I cried. I cried in the morning. I cried in the afternoon, even at night. But even while crying, I had to complete all the housework. Nobody even stopped to ask why I was no longer going to the salon. Nobody even asked why I looked unhappy. Nobody asked what was troubling me. It was as though I was invisible in that house. What even made the pain worse was watching my family help other people's children when my own needs were being ignored. Whenever someone outside of the family needed assistance, they were willing to find a way. They would even borrow money to help that person. But when it came to me, there was so much excuses. There were so much excuses. And more important needs. At one point, our auntie's children came to live with us. They were welcomed and properly cared for without anyone complaining. I watched them receive attention, care, and support. Meanwhile, I was right there in the same house, wondering why the same kindness could not be extended to me. I was not angry with those children because I know they had not done anything wrong. But watching how they were treated made me question my place in the family. I started asking myself painful questions like, what did I do wrong? Why does it seem as though everyone deserves love except me? Why are they willing to sacrifice for other people's children, but not for their own? I watched my future slipping away before my eyes, and there was nothing I can do about it. For days, I stayed at home because the installment had not been paid. Yet, none of my family members seemed to notice. It felt as though I was not living in that house. It felt as though they had forgotten that I also deserve a future. The pain began to change me. I became stubborn and angry at everything. I isolated myself and stopped relating with people. I carried so much pain inside of me that even the smallest thing would make me upset. People may have seen my anger, but they don't understand that rejection was behind it. It may be called stubborn, but nobody asked me what made me that way. Sometimes when a child suddenly becomes difficult, angry, or withdrawn, there is a deeper pain behind that behavior. That child may be silently asking for help or may not know how to explain what is happening inside. And that was me. I was not born angry. Life was making me angry. I was not born stubborn. Constant rejection was changing me. Then one fateful day, my madam came to our house. She wanted to know why I had stopped coming to the salon. The fact that she noticed my accent touched me because people living in the same house with me had not even asked me. A woman who was not related to me noticed that something was wrong, why my own family appeared not to care. And when she asked me what happened, I finally opened up. I told her how difficult things had become. I explained that I did not have money to pay the second installment and that my brother has not sent it yet. And at that time, There was no telephone available for me to contact my eldest brother directly. It felt helpless because I had no control over the situation. I expected my madam to become angry or tell me that I could no longer continue my apprenticeship. But to my surprise, she showed me kindness. She told me to return to the saloon and continue working until I could figure out how to pay the money. For the first time in many days, I felt a small sense of relief. Her kindness gave me the courage to return. I continued working and hoping that somehow the money would eventually be paid. A few weeks later, my brother finally came to the salon to pay my madam. While he was there, my madam looked at him and asked him a question that I suppose the pain had been carrying silently. She asked, "Are you truly from the same mother? Or is she just someone your family is helping?" That question opened something inside me. I could no longer keep quiet. In my brother's presence, I answered her. I said, "We are from the same mother. I'm the last born child, and I don't understand why they hate me so much with passion. I don't understand what I did wrong from childhood." But this words came from the deepest part of my heart. I carried that question for years. What did I do to deserve this kind of treatment? Was being born into that family my offense? Was I such a terrible child that I did not deserve to be loved, supported, or protected? With tears in my eyes, I continued speaking. I said sometimes I will go hungry for days, yet they are willing to borrow money to help other people. I was not trying to disgrace my brother or my family falsely. I was simply telling the truth that I had experienced. For once, I wanted someone to hear me. For once, I wanted someone to understand how much I was hurting. But these words made my brother extremely angry. Instead of asking why I felt that way, he became furious that I had spoken openly in front of my madam. He began beating me from the salon all the way home. Imagine the shame. Imagine the pain. I was being beaten because I finally found the courage to speak about how I was being treated. He called me all kind of terrible names. Then he said words that broke something inside of me. "You are an unfortunate child." Those words entered my heart like a knife. I had already spent years wondering whether something was wrong with me. Hearing my own brother call me unfortunate seemed to confirm very painful thoughts I had about myself. Because I had spoken openly about my experiences, it threw me out of the house. I stood there feeling rejected, humiliated, and completely alone. Where was I supposed to go? Who was I supposed to call? I was still a young girl trying to find a way in life. I had no money, no telephone, no place of my own. The people who were supposed to protect me were the same people making me feel unwanted. That became my breaking point. I felt completely worthless. I had endured hardship, hunger, neglect, rejection, and disappointment for so long that I no longer wanted to continue living. I thought if my family sees me as an unfortunate child, then what is the purpose of my life? I wanted to end it all. At that moment, I could not see any hope. I could not imagine that my situation will ever change. I could not see the woman I will eventually become. I could not see the battles I will survive. I could not see the lives my story will touch one day. I could not see that one day I will have the courage to sit before the camera and tell my story that once made me feel ashamed. All I could see in front of me was pain. But God sees beyond the moments. God had a different plan for my life. When I could no longer see a reason to live, God was already protecting my future I could not see yet. When people call me unfortunate, God still called me his own. When my family made me feel forgotten, heaven had not forgotten me. When I thought my story was coming to an end, God knew my journey had only just begun. Today, when I look back at that young girl, I wish I could hold her hand and tell her, "You are not unfortunate. You are not worthless. You are not the problem. You deserve to be loved. One day you will understand why God kept you alive." To anyone watching this who has ever felt rejected, neglected, or wanted, please hear me. The way people treat you does not determine your value. The painful words spoken over your life do not have the power to cancel God's purpose for you. I survived that moment not because I was strong enough on my own, but because God has a way of preserving his own. My life did not end in that season. My story did not end with rejection. In fact, that was only the beginning.